Hello, PPL! Ashton Akai here, and we are back once again for your Division 1 Week 2 Power Rankings. So, and as with last week, I'm joined by Freedomeon. Say hi, Frida.
Hi, Fredo. You also almost forgot me there.
Yeah, I was debating on whether or not I was going to bring you in.
Cheers.
Should I kind of let you? But yeah, anyway.
I'll just sit here for an hour and listen to you, shall I?
Yeah, you could do that if you want, but I mean, it's not
cool.
going to be all that interesting.
Speak to you in a bit, guys.
Bye, Frida. Anyway, so we are back again to discuss the Power Rankings post the Week 2 games. There were some interesting results and definitely some changes on my rankings. Some people moving up quite a bit, a few people moving down quite a bit. So it will be interesting to see, because there were definitely some differences in kind of the middle of our rankings last time. How closely we align this time.
Yeah, I think we're still different though.
I think we probably still are a bit, but
yeah.
We'll see. So, jumping right in, you guys are, I think we align here. I don't see why we wouldn't. With RTK, he was bottom after the draft rankings, and he's not won a game, so of course he's not going to be moving off the bottom. He got a bit unlucky with I think there was one that freeze, which was a little bit on the fortunate side, but otherwise this was it was a game which again he lost pretty heavily to Shoddy.
Yeah, like there was quite a bit of hacks for RTK, but literally the only thing that mattered in that game was that freeze. But then even if it wasn't, that bishop didn't get frozen, Shoddy still would have dealt with that no problem at all. He just had to make 2 switches, which that freeze prevented him from having to do.
Yeah, so I mean, it's like it didn't change the result, maybe changed the score a little bit, maybe,
by one possibly.
But all in all, he's it's not a lot to really say for RTK here. Just that he's we were a bit unsure about the team he drafted, and yet to kind of see. I don't know if he's still kind of getting used to, playing with it or what, but he's definitely kind of, struggling a bit here at the start.
Yeah, you can see, like, P2 was a perfect example of the reason we put his team so low in not having any hard hitters.
He just couldn't break through it.
He got to +3 with Carmine Gardevoir.
Yeah.
And still, it's just doing nothing.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I would question the lack of any coverage to kind of hit P2 on top of that, because I mean, I think he was going for Moonblast, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So
I'm pretty sure that was his only attacking move, based on, or maybe he had Psychic. I can't quite remember.
Possibly, but either way, it's like he not only does he not have any great hard hitters, but then he's looking at preparing for the game. He's got to see that P2 there, and he's got to be having no coverage on Gardevoir for it. We saw very clearly how effective P2 can be, but I mean, RTK could have done something about that by setting himself up to deal with it a little bit better, I think.
Yeah, I'm going to assume that he had knockoff on Bishop, and that was his way of dealing with P2.
Probably, but then I mean, even if you knock off P2, it's not like it's the frailest mon in the world. It's still a nuisance. So
yeah,
this game, the long and short of this game is RTK was bottom from the beginning, and we still haven't had a reason to move him up.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
He makes good plays.
Yeah, he does.
Like, he has the ability. It's just I really don't think this team is going to get him anywhere this season, unfortunately.
No, I definitely feel like there are times in both of these games where if he just had a little bit more power there to call upon, that maybe he could have done something with that. He definitely has the ability, and maybe, who knows, weirder things have happened. It may all kind of click for him here soon, and he may start picking up those wins. I mean, he definitely has the ability to do so. So we'll see.
Yeah. Moving on.
Right. So number 11, I have Necrostevo.
And so do I.
Yay, we're in alignment. So I haven't actually seen Necro's side of things. I know him and Sam battled rather late, I think because I saw Sam's game, their game kind of this morning, so don't have a lot of kind of his thought processes to call on here. His team was let's see, Mega Bombsnow, Zygarde, Chandelure, Rotomosh, Scizor, and Slowking. So again, we see the kind of heavy fire weakness and kind of a combination of heavy fire weakness and things which deal with fire, which it always gonna make things difficult for him if the wrong thing gets knocked out. But then we see that this amazing Gourgeist that comes along, and we'll probably discuss that a bit more further up the table
when we get to Sam. I think it's a good time for that.
But he's just another game where Necro. I think there were some definite issues in his prep just with regard specifically to that Gourgeist. And he just, it was another game where Sam came in and kind of, he would use said Gourgeist to take control of the game, and then never really looked like losing it after that. I mean, he had Necro on the back foot from very, very quickly, and he spent the whole game kind of playing catch up.
Which he never could actually catch up.
No.
I think, like you've hit on that, his prep was a bit off this week. Obviously, he didn't do his research on Gourgeist, and he fell into the trap of, he's got a Gourgeist, so that means he's bringing Gourgeist Large, which is defensive, because that's what it's going to do. But there's a couple of sizes of Gourgeist, and when you see that your opponent outspeeds your Chandelure with a Gourgeist for 1, and takes Life Orb Recoil, that's when you hit up Bulbapedia, Therapy, whatever your chosen website is to check out moves. That's when you really start looking, okay, what else is he going to do here? And I'm just assuming he didn't do that.
Yeah.
Because he would have seen that Fire Blast coming.
Yeah, he wouldn't, rather than walking straight into the Fire Blast and being and losing his second Mon, just like that.
Yeah, and he clearly didn't calc that Ice Shot either, because I'm assuming he thought it was going to KO.
Or, he either thought it was going to KO or he was just trying to get damage on it. But I mean, this is the downside of not having his kind of viewpoint here, because we don't know if he was actually going for the kill or if he just wanted damage or what he was trying to do. But I mean, I was assuming that, either he thought it was going to kill or he was just trying to get chip damage, kind of like it was able to do for him last week. But it's been, it's kind of been the role that Mega Bombsnow Snowfar has been relegated to, come in, smack something with an Ice Shard, and then drop.
Yeah.
He's another one. He definitely can move up the table if he starts using the team, and maybe, because I think they have transfers here very soon, so maybe
this week.
Yeah, this
week. It started
week.
Today, actually.
Yeah, so if he maybe makes a change, changes something up to improve, to kind of help the balance of the team a little bit, can definitely maybe start picking up those wins, but, only time is going to tell.
Yeah, it's just going to have to be a watch. We're excited to see what Mega Bombsnow is going to do.
Yeah.
When it stops being fodder, basically.
Pretty much. I mean, it's so this is another game, not loads to really say about it. I mean,
that's basically the theme with a few of these games this week.
You guys are going to see that there will be a few of these games this week where it's just going to be us kind of saying,
that happened, so next one.
But
basically,
it seemed to be a trend this week, and I don't know what it was in the air or something, but not a fan.
So number 10.
I have got Unlawful Exile.
So do I.
Hey, we're in alignment for 3 in a row. It's like it's a new record.
I know this next one we're definitely not.
Yeah, we're definitely not. But at least for now, we are in alignment. So some things about he brought some of his sets were interesting. Some of them.
Interesting is an interesting word.
Some of them just showed a real lack of kind of. It felt like he was another one that didn't really look at the matchups, the Sleep Powder Venusaur with no hidden power fire to deal with the Skarmory. I mean, Skarmory walls that thing to hell and back, and I mean, even if your Sleep Powder is your way to deal with it, not completely throwing out the safety goggles, which Jack had on his Skarmory, which was really a really good piece of prep, by the way. Sleep Powder is it's not super accurate. You can't depend on the sleep turns. It's not a great way to deal with something, and it's just one of the. I know he's new to the format. And I mean, these are it was kind of funny watching this because I see him making errors that kind of were me back when I started draft. Like, they're things that you maybe don't think about. But like, you know, one of the first things I do when I look at sets like that Venusaur, is go, is there anything on his team which just straight up walls me? And it felt like he didn't do that, or it felt like he didn't do that, more or less.
Yeah, but your opponent's got a Skarmory, you've got a Mega Venusaur, you run HP Fire.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, there's even if he's got an Okaberry, like you have to, because otherwise it just walls you.
Which he found out very quickly.
I wasn't so sure about the Specs Galvantula with Sticky Web.
That's my top note on this game.
Just like, you know, I mean, I know there are games where sometimes you do have to run like Defog on a Scarfer or something, you know, because you have no other choice, but it just running Sticky Web, which is a move you're going to want to go for against Jack's team, yeah, and you're going to want to, these are hazards this is a hazard you're going to be trying to keep up, and then, you know, choice locking yourself into that setup move. It's just, it kills momentum every time. And I mean, Specs Galvantula can potentially be a threat, and I mean, it upset me a little bit to see it, you know, relegated to that role, and then getting knocked out on kind of a reckless switch-in.
Yeah, I have no idea why he wanted to be Specs and Sticky Web.
No.
I think he should have made that decision before going into the game.
Yeah.
Which one he wanted to be, not both, especially against Jack's team.
Yeah.
The whole Skarm Venusaur issue, that's something he really needs to look at.
It is.
For future reference, is what he did wrong there, and hopefully not make the same mistake twice. I got a couple of other notes on this game. He just struggled against Jack.
He did.
Full stop. I don't mean to sound harsh, but he did. And there was that whole thing where he had Mamoswine in on Skarmory, and he just keeps clicking Freeze Dry when Jack is just setting up spikes in his face.
Yeah.
I just don't understand that.
I mean, it almost kind of helps him a bit late in game, because Jack said in his narration that it made him think it was a choiced Mamoswine, but then like you're still letting somebody set up, you know, spikes basically for free, which is never a great thing to do. In addition, like for positive points, like going for the, you know, eventually figuring out that he could try to deal with the Skarmory by earthquaking it on the roost was, you know, it was good. It was better, like, because he'd struggled in a lot of that game, and like to see him, you know, at least try to kind of work with what he had and find a way out of the situation he found himself in, you know, that was better. But you know, it just, he definitely felt like he let the pressure get to him a couple of times. You know, there was one point where he said that he lost track of whether or not he'd wished. It just, like, you know,
that must explain a lot of things.
Yeah,
okay.
There was one point where he said he'd lost track of whether or not he'd wished, because he wasn't, you know, paying attention. And just, like, all in all, like, you described it very well. He struggled. But in addition to that, live narrations an hour long will not make us friends.
Oh, he did upload his side.
He did.
Because when I was doing my watch, I couldn't find his side, and I only watched Jack's.
He did. It was.
I was really, really grateful Jack did a post-con.
Yeah, he did. It was live recorded, and it was an hour long. So that will not make us friends. Just telling you now, no. Liam. I mean, fair enough. If you want to upload live, but yeah, I'm not going to tell you not to, but it won't make us friends.
No. I've got one last note to pick up on this game, and that was the wish passing with Vaporeon. That's not the way to do it. It was very, very predictable. You could tell when there was going to be the wish, when it was going to be passed, when the protect was coming. It was literally watching someone who just learned how to wish pass. That sounds really, really harsh.
It does, but
I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to sound so harsh, but it was a little too predictable, and I think it made Jack's game a bit easier by it being so predictable.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of this game you could kind of sum it up by, you know, seeing someone who's just learning how to play in this format against someone who's, you know, come a long way since, you know, playing in this format, getting a lot of his practice in. And I mean, Jack was very much on point for a lot of the game, whereas Liam he was struggling, he was flustered, he was he was kind of backpedaling throughout a lot of it.
Yeah. But let's move on. Sorry, that
Yeah.
sounded a bit harsh.
No,
Liam,
yeah.
like, you're still new, we get it.
We get it, but we're all, we're trying to help you as well by, pointing out these things, even though they may come across harsh from time to time.
Yeah.
So, up to number 9. I actually have Frank and the FC Volcarona here.
I don't.
Yeah, the number one reason I have him here over a couple of other people is really just because, he lost again. As I said, I think last week, if I get a group of 2 or 3 people that are pretty close in my mind, one of the first things I'm going to do as I'm kind of ranking them is look at, record, because this is power rankings, so it's a statement of form. But this game, I liked some of his sets. The prep that went into the game was good, but then he just kind of played, and I mean, he said it in his narration. He's played the whole game fairly safely, and it repeatedly kind of bit him over and over and over again. I'm trying to find my notes here. I really liked the psych up on Rotom Mo. I thought that was pretty clever. It never didn't come into play. I questioned the expert belt on Starmie, and it kind of came back to bite him a little bit in the game, just because, as we saw against the Mega Sableye, he kind of just missed out on the KO by the very slimmest of margins a couple of times.
I'm pretty sure Life Orb damage would have made that a KO for him.
It would have done, because it was almost nothing. This game, I mean, there wasn't, I guess, and I don't want to sound mean, but there wasn't a lot really to point out about it. I mean, he's actually pointed out kind of his own issues very well. There were a number of times there where he made the safe play. He got predicted taking the damage on the Gardevoir. I think at one point from the Sableye was, he was repeatedly kind of losing those exchanges, and then in the end he just got swept by the Kyurem. It was, like I said, he's down there because he's lost again, not because I think he's played, horrifically badly. He definitely played better last week against Kelly in that defeat, but he's got a very good team. I definitely trust that he can move himself back up, but I had reasons to have these other people above him, so in the end I just kind of had to put him there.
Yeah, fair enough. My number 9 is Kelly. Kelly had a bit of a rough week this week, but he got hit by a car before they played, and he'd spent time in hospital, and I'm pretty sure that if anybody else was to get hit by a car, they'd most probably play like that as well. So I can't really put him down for it, because he's obviously not focused, and you could see in the game he wasn't focused. But he used Pursuit Umbreon,
which was cool,
and I really liked seeing that. That was really cool. I've never done that before, so I might do it in future if I draft Umbreon again, which I'm going to end up doing at some point. But yeah, that was really cool. With his lack of focus, you could see that he should have predicted the Protect after the Ordino went for Wish.
Yeah.
But like I said, he was unfocused, and I can't really put him down after getting hit by a car and spending time in hospital. So that's pretty much going to be it for Kelly this week.
Yeah, I'll talk about him a little bit when I've got him a couple places up higher, so I'll discuss that a little bit more when we get to him.
Cool. Number 8?
I have got Alex Onesie Bennett at number 8.
Oh my god, so do I.
We agree again. What do you know? So, he played really well in his game against Frank.
He did.
I really enjoyed some of the sets. Unfortunately, I've forgotten to write down. I watched his team build. I watched his the battle kind of later, and I've forgotten to make a few notes.
Can I just point out, by the way, that our notes may not be as in-depth as they have been the past couple of weeks. Most of the matches only got uploaded yesterday and today is quite literally the only time we have to record this week.
I mean, our this week may be a little bit light on the sort of analysis from us, but I enjoyed what must have been a fast Kirim that did a lot of work that kind of late game against Frank's team when you sit down and look at it. The banded Escavalier did so much work, and that made me happy to see how much damage that thing was putting out. It was a really bold, I guess, I want to say selection as well when your opponent has an Entei.
But like Frank wouldn't even switch in the Entei to the Mega Horn because he knew it was still gonna hurt.
Well, yeah, and they traded rocks really early on in the game, so then that kind of stops Entei's ability to switch in on something like that, because once you're taking 25%, if from the switch in, if the Mega Horn even does 40%, that stings a lot, and then all he has to do is switch out to the Reg Rock, which he has in the back, sponge the hit, and then you can't switch in again.
Yeah,
so he was able to get Frank in a really tough position, and I think a lot of the reason why he struggled so bad, he struggled as much as he did this week, is because Alex played this really well and was able to kind of get him reacting to, get him in a position where he was kind of having to react to what he was doing kind of pretty quickly on.
He pinned him against the wall a couple of times with the Escavalier and the Mega Sableye.
Yep,
and it was just Frank just didn't quite know what he was doing in that situation, unfortunately.
Yeah, that really was what it came down to, was he was able to kind of, as you say, get Frank into these kind of lose situations where he had the hip out on in against the Escavalier, and just he slacked off a couple of times, but at the end it was just kind of there's really no point in going for another one, because this is just never going to end, and this is a battle for losing. He was able to force those kinds of matchups, and when you can do that in a game like this, it's always going to go well for you.
Yeah, especially when your opponent has an Entei and the thing you're destroying him with is an Escavalier.
Yeah, definitely. That was very well done on his part.
Number 7.
I have Kelly at number 7. So, as you said, obviously there was definitely a detracting factor in this one. You could see his focus kind of drop a little bit as the game went on, but fair play to him for for still playing the game and starting actually I think as well as he did. He definitely, the hidden power fighting in the first turn I thought was that was a good prediction on his part, expecting probably just realizing that turn 1 a lot of people aren't going to, they're going to kind of they're going to go for sort of the obvious thing, and so Minetric is not really going to withstand against a T-Tar knowing that it can't knock it out. It was risky, but it worked out for him. I really enjoyed the Pursuit Umbreon. The defensive Flygon was looking to work out until he switched in on a Draco Meteor. It felt like this was kind of a rough week for him, and couple that with Trav playing extremely well, it was just never going to be his week. There were some prep issues. I think not having anything to hit the Tyranitar on Reuniclus really ended up biting him hard, then losing his Azumarill so early to the Quillfish kind of hurt, because he really could have used his Aqua Jets kind of against things like the Tyranitar later on in the game.
Yeah. So
he started well. Definitely could see him struggling there, and he just got outplayed in the last stretch. But there's definitely the detracting factor of his time in hospital to consider.
Yeah. My number 7 is Sly. Slyro.
Yep.
He's stayed the same for me this week, but that's mainly because everyone's moved around him. But he played really, really well. It's what you have for a well-played Arcanine.
Yeah.
It's pretty much the only thing you need to say about this game is Arcanine, Arcanine, Arcanine. Shroom he had Jellicent for it, and then he didn't have Jellicent, and then he had nothing for it.
Yeah, that was pretty much the story of the game.
Just well done, Sly. Again, you had another solid week this week. If he keeps having these, then he's definitely going to be a title contender. The one thing I do want to point out, though, is he was running Flash Cannon on his Hydreigon for Sylveon. Sylveon has ridiculous special defense.
It really does, even on invested.
Yeah, if you're running Choice Spec Sylveon, you're running max HP or close to max HP. So you always want to hit Sylveon on the physical side, because it's going to take hits for days on the special side. Even though he was Wise Glasses, he still should have run Iron Tail. It's got a higher base power. Sylveon's got less, a lower base stat in defense over special defense. The only reason you should run Flash Cannon on Hydreigon to hit a Sylveon instead of Iron Tail is if you're running specs on your Hydreigon.
Yeah.
That's literally the only reason.
I mean,
and he wasn't.
had it come down to it, the lack of damage could have definitely bit him. I mean, as it turned out, it didn't, but definitely something to keep in mind.
Iron Tail is a guaranteed 2-hit KO on Sylveon because it's got a minimum damage of 51%, whereas Flash Cannon's max damage with Wise Glasses is 51%.
Yeah, so you have to get like max rolls.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, well done, Sly.
Yeah, definitely.
Number 6.
Right, I have got Jack at number 6. The Dawn Fanatic. This was another really solid game from him, and this time he comes away with a really strong win. I really liked his prep on the whole. He played the Zorog really, really well, getting the KO on the Mew. I mean, he had Liam just kind of guessing the whole game, almost the entire game, what was the Zorog, and I think even at one point, I remember Liam saying, Sucker Punch Darmanitan, I never would have expected Sucker Punch Darmanitan, not realizing that it was the Zorog.
What?
But like it was he had him totally convinced. He going for the drill peck with the turn where he went for the drill peck with the Galvantula coming in. That was very that was a excellent prediction there. The safety goggles Skarmory as a Venusaur counter was nice. I enjoyed that very, very much. And yeah, Darmanitan, his whole team is really, really scary, and I think he got a chance to, because he was able to keep Liam off balance for much of the game, he really was able to show kind of the power that it's got there behind it, as well as just Skarmory's ability to wall things.
Yeah. I've got Jack.
Yeah,
so
all in all,
but
all in all, very good game from Jack. He's looking like an early threat.
Yeah, definitely an early threat. I've got Frank as my number 6. Like you said, he just played too safe this week. Alex was just able to keep smashing at him, and Frank wasn't able to do anything in return. Like, he had nothing to take the hit, so it was just, okay, I'm going to sack this now because I'm annoying myself by just slacking off, which is what seemed to be Frank's mindset at the time. He just got a bit frustrated and was like, oh, okay, I'm done with this now. And I'm not quite sure why he brought Sand Hippowdon, because it did more damage to Frank's team than it did to Alex's team.
Yeah.
Because he had the Escavalier, which is obviously immune to sand damage, and he has a Regirock, which is going to enjoy sand more than anything, because it's going to get the Spadef boost. So I think maybe that was an oversight on his part. He should have not been running Sandstream. But I think Frank is still pretty new to League format as well. Like, he played in the D League for a couple of games and he had to drop, if I remember correctly.
He said that at the end of his video. Like, actually, he doesn't have loads of draft experience and he's still very much learning. So, I mean, that you have to take that into consideration as well. And I think he said in his team prep, the reason that he was running Sand was because he had this whole sort of wear down Alex's team approach to the game. I think he had Toxic on 3 Mons, something like that.
Yeah.
So that could have been his reasoning for it, but you're very right. Regirock, if anything, loves being in the sand.
Yeah, exactly. So Frank's obviously really good at Pokemon. You can't take that away from him, and Frank's very good with creative sets. Should we do an air quotes? Yeah. So I think he needs to sort of chill and just approach it as he would sort of build in another team, but he can tailor it a little bit more because he's got his opponent's team in front of him as well.
Yeah.
And just sort of be Frank while playing in a League format. I think that's all he needs to do.
Yeah, fair enough.
But number 5?
I have got Shoddy at number 5.
Ooh.
What can I even say about this game? It was a thing of beauty. I very much enjoyed seeing Ben and Jerry do work. That was a wonderful wonderful thing. The
Hashtag Vanillix for MVP.
Yeah, Vanillix for MVP. The P2 with HP fighting was, again, it didn't end up, because he got the freeze on Bisharp, which was maybe the only bit of hacks which really mattered. It didn't end up kind of affecting the game, but was a nice bit of prep on his part, knowing that Bisharp is probably going to be RTK's answer to P2. This was just another extremely solid game from Shoddy. Like, he started, very well. All of his sets were on point. I think the mana he said was set up to live an Adamant +2 Sucker Punch after rocks from the Bisharp. The Mega Lopunny was set up, one thing you will always get with Shoddy is his sets were just on point. But the only thing that I will say about this game, but you know what, I'm gonna leave it to you to say, because I know you'll enjoy this more than I will.
Thank you so much.
But other than this thing, which I'm gonna leave to Frito to mention, because I know he wants to mention, it was it was just another really well played game from Shoddy. And even when he realized the thing that he did, which I'm gonna let Frito mention, he just kind of absorbed it. It was like, okay, well, now I have to do something, now I have to change up my strategy, adjust it, and moved on. And it barely even lost a steps, very clinical, just all around, I really can't fault this performance except for that one thing. So, who have you got at number 5?
I've got Shroom.
All right.
Shroom's dropped one for me after this week's performance. He just, like we said when we talked about Sly, Shroom just had nothing for Arcanine after Jellicent went, and it literally just was the Arcanine share. Yeah. Like, you could see Shroom trying to pull it back. Also, they had 3 disconnects.
They did, and then they ended up finishing it on Showdown.
So that's going to frustrate anybody, and Sly was in a much better position at all of those disconnects than Shroom was. So if you're sort of losing and you're on the back foot, and then you've got to sort of make up the game again, you've got to replay everything that's been done, or try and find a way to get the same result without making all of the same moves, you're going to be frustrated. You're going to be on your mindset is just going to be like, oh, what am I going to do? When you're in the game and you're on the back foot, you can try and pull yourself off the back foot and start taking advantage of things. But then when you get disconnected again as you're trying to break through everything, it's just going to get infuriating for you, and it's going to ruin the game for you.
It's just going to mess up your ability to kind of get anything going, really. If you're constantly getting cut out and stopped and stopped and stopped, it's like, when you're in that kind of position, you really need to kind of, it's like he had a lot to do anyway, but I'll talk about that a little bit more when we get up to him, because I've got him a bit higher up.
But yeah, I'm gonna put it down mainly to all of those disconnects and him being on the back foot, and Sly being in a better position than him each time they had to reconnect. Just Shroom's gonna bounce back, of course, so it's Shroom.
Yeah, definitely.
There you go. Number 4.
I have got Sly at number 4. He moves up 1 place for me this week. So, as we've basically already said about Sly, it was a really solid performance from him. Like, this was another week where it was nothing super flashy. He just kind of came into it with a really good plan, was able to execute, and, win, I want to say fairly comfortably. He just, at the end there was just, Shroom could do nothing to the Arcanine. He made, I think, an early prediction expecting a switch and caught the Crocodile with a Scald, which was good. Switching into one of the things I liked, he saw the Noctowl and kind of looked at the team which Shroom had brought, and his commentary, he goes, maybe this is his defogger, and I know Noctowl is really specially defensive, so what is the best? He's going to defog right now, rocks are up and he needs to get rid of them. What is my best switch here? And he pulls the switch out into Arcanine, gets the Arcanine staring this Noctowl down, and is able to take it out, because at that point Shroom really didn't have a good switch into Arcanine. So he did a good job of, keeping the Arcanine alive. He got the Crocodile burned, because of something which I'll talk about in a bit, again with Shroom. And the game was like I was discussing it with Shroom after. The game was more or less like the disconnects were unfortunate and kind of broke his momentum up, but like the game was almost over at 6-4 with the burnt Crocodile. Like Sly was able to control it very, very well. And, you know, it was, like I said, a very, nothing super flashy, nothing crazy, but he came in with a good plan and was able to execute it and picks up another win. And that is all I really have about Sly.
Okay. My number 4 is Shardy. So Eric may have picked up on Shardy having really good sets for the match. All of his sets were really good. Shardy played fantastically. And it's why he's climbing so fast in my rankings. But you may not know Shardy that well if you're watching this, or you may know Shardy and you'll be able to agree with me. Shardy can leave things till the last minute, and Shardy can be quite... We'll use lazy. I think lazy is a good word for this. And the one Pokemon you don't want to have if you're gonna sort of leave your gen in until last minute, like, you know, sort of 15 minutes before you're meant to battle, is Mega Lopunny, because, you know, when you trade a Pokemon, it loses its happiness value, doesn't it, Shardy?
It does. This is a fact. It's so well known.
And like Shardy spent a long time last week before the week 1 battle getting his Lopunny to max happiness, and as you got to see, Shardy just didn't do it this week. Like, Shardy, either drop Mega Lopunny or get your Mons gen quicker.
Please,
run Kick It
Impact.
I beg of you.
Run Kick It Impact.
Don't listen to Eric. Like, Shardy's got all of his berries ready for it, okay? Either throw the berries at it, or you can go into the Safari Zone on the Acro Bike and just go to that little mound, like one of the ramps, and just literally tape your joystick forward while having Lopunny hold a Soothe Bell, and that is done in no time. Max happiness, there you go. You can literally just leave it by itself until it's maxed. You don't have to do anything. And we know you love not doing anything.
You guys can tell, this really bugged Frito.
It's like, if I'd done this in TVU, he would have slaughtered me.
Yes, he would have.
And I just... Shardy, man. Get good at happiness, man. Please, don't do this again. I don't want to see you do this again.
When Frito tells you to get good, you know you've done screwed up.
Oh my god, it's annoying me. Okay. Literally, one of my notes on this is just in, like, capitals at, like, a bigger text size, bigger font size than the rest of my font, and it just says happiness, Shardy. Like, just put that on the mirror, put it on your DS, just
His Lopunny didn't love
make it... Do something, please, Shardy. But back onto what Shardy actually did well, he just, like you said, he was clinical. It was a perfect game. He played perfectly. For a while, like, I was worried about the way he was just sitting in against the Gardevoir. And I was like, wait, it's a Gardevoir, not a Mega Gardevoir, so don't panic. But he knew what he was doing as he went into the game, and he literally just executed it perfectly. I think Shardy's definitely, if he doesn't Shardy things up, he's going to make a nice run for that title.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it's about time that Shardy did get a title under his belt. I mean that in a good way, not taking shots at him. Like, he deserves one because he knows this format so well. He just makes mistakes somehow in the seasons, and it just doesn't go his way.
I know how that feels.
Of course you do.
Well, yeah.
But let's not talk about mistakes before you say a cell.
No. But I wasn't even going to say Selgor.
Yes, you were. You were always
going to say Mega DNC.
Ah, Jesus Christ, man.
Okay, number 3. I've got Shroom here at number 3. Obviously, he was going to fall after losing to Sly, but he was he was number 1 last week, and I mean, it was, I don't like to drop people more than a couple of places based on 1 week, so there's that. Plus, had I dropped him any further, he would have fallen like ridiculously far, and didn't want to do that either. So this, as we've kind of said when you spoke about it before, he was on the back foot very, very early. He had a couple of ways to potentially deal with the Arcanine, the Jellicent, the Crocodile potentially, and things just kind of, never really seemed to go his way. He let his Jellicent go way too early. I have it in my notes here, you should have recovered Shroom in all caps, instead of, I think, going for Toxic at one point on the Arcanine, because, yeah, wearing the Arcanine down is good, but doing so at the cost of your best check to it, bad. Because we'd already seen the crunches weren't doing loads. It was a bulky Arcanine, he could take them. The Crocodile set, it was defensive. And he forgot to, well, he didn't, I don't want to say forgot, he didn't speed creep defensive Arcanine on it, so he ended up burned rather than getting an Earthquake off, and that was bad. It's weird to be saying this because, these kinds of, this is Shroom we're talking about, but that was just kind of, it was a big oversight, and it really came back to bite him in a big way, because as I said when we talked about it before, I think there was one point after kind of when I picked up watching it, because I sat in and watched their game when it moved to Showdown. I saw the way, after I watched them recreate and saw kind of the situation they were in, I was like, short of a miracle, Shroom isn't winning this. At 6'4", with the Crocodile burn, he had, I think, Sylveon, who'd taken some damage, Mega Scizor, and I want to say the Tornadus left, and it's just like nothing there is going to, short of like a big crit or something, or Sly being really sloppy, is going to beat that Arcanine. He just had nothing to deal with the Arcanine, and that was more or less the story of this game. In the end, he just had no way to beat the Arcanine. He tried. I could see him trying, and I mean, he got, he was really, he pulled out everything kind of that I think he could, but he had no way of dealing with it. And, he falls to number 3. I definitely don't, he's not going to, he won't let this get to him too much. I mean, this is Shroom. So I think, he could definitely be moving right back up next week, but that's all I have to say on that one.
Yeah. Cool. My number 3 is Jack. Jack's most probably shocked at being this high in the power rankings. But like from the moment that game started, Jack had complete and utter control and never lost it. Well, I've put down on my notes, why does Skarm outspeed Mamo? I don't know if I'm directing that at Jack or Liam. Like, I don't understand why Mamo was so slow.
At one point, I think based on Liam's investment, he realized it because there was a point where he went for like 3 or 4 freeze dries in a row and outsped every single one. But he was, I think, a bulkier Mamoswine, and then it realized that they'd actually managed to speed tie somehow.
Oh, yes, okay, there you go. So I'm going to take that note straight away. Because I remember watching the game and I was like, I'm sure the freeze dries were going first. And then when Jack's Roost went first, I was like, okay. But okay, well done Liam for picking up on the speed tie. I clearly didn't. But Jack played a very, very good game. He was in total control. He never, it just went his way. He managed to make the predictions. All of the predictions were on point. There was never a prediction that Jack got wrong, that I can recall at least. He had his opportunity to set up spikes, so he just did, because there was no reason not to. And it just, like Jack said in his narration, that he's setting up the spikes, and he thinks that Liam is going to believe that he's going to get the chance to rapid spin later on with Hitmonchan. And Jack's answer was like, no, he's not. He just never gave Liam that opportunity to do that.
He was very effectively able to keep Liam just backpedaling throughout basically the entire match.
Yeah, there was a lot of Florges versus Vaporeon. There was a lot of wishing and heel belling going on. But Jack won that out because, like I said earlier, Liam's wish game was predictable. So Jack just managed to predict it right, basically.
I think one of the biggest differences in this game between the two of them is if you listen to their narrations, because this was one of the ones where we had them both, which was kind of nice. Jack was just like, he was calm, he collected, he knew exactly what he needed to do, and Liam was panicking, and he was able to really take advantage of that.
Yeah, well, I'd panic if I'd let a Skarm set up spikes. 3 layers of spikes on me as well.
That's not a good place to be.
Yeah. especially when like you have things that you don't have to let the scum set up that
Very
much.
true.
But yeah, I'm done.
Yep. On to number 2, and I'm thinking that there might be a chance that we're in agreement here.
Yes, we
I've
are.
got Trav here. Are we in agreement?
Yes, we are 100%
cool.
in agreement.
So this was a really, really well played game from him. Like I said when we talked about Kelly, Kelly had kind of an off performance, but you couple that with what was a very, very strong game from Trav, and it was never going to go Kelly's way. I liked the Latias set. I liked the expert belt Embor with HP Ice and Flame Charge. That was really cool. The weakness policy T-Tar was also looking to be, just when I watched the team analysis, like looking to be really effective. It was kind of, that was one of the few kind of poor kind of misplays that he made, was just going for those stealth rocks turn 1. Because he's probably in his head, Kelly is going to want to get out of there because he doesn't want to take that earthquake. But then again, the stealth rocks were the turn 1 stealth rocks were a little bit predictable, I thought, and because he ended up kind of wasting his weakness policy, which was kind of unfortunate. I really enjoyed the Quillfish set, and that was really able to, it looked like it capable of doing a whole lot of stuff, but it was, it dealt with the very scary looking belly drum Azumarill very, very well, and he did. The only other note I have here was that he used the Audino very, very well. Like he and keep the Audino and keeping the T-Tar healthy. He played that game extremely well and was able to just kind of get to that point there at the end where he was able to take where Kelly didn't have a whole lot left to kind of hurt him.
Yeah, like my notes for this game look like a love letter to Trav. Seriously. I'm not sure even if Kelly's game, like if he wasn't so unfocused this week, I'm pretty sure Trav still had this game in the bag. Like Trav was just exceptional. He made the right plays at the right time, like the risky plays where he had a lot to lose. He made the right risky play at the right exact time, and they all worked out for him. He preserved his Pokemon well for the right threats. Like he knew the only thing he had for Reuniclus was Tyranitar, and well, he kept saying that he was trying to keep like 2 wall breakers and Tyranitar around for it, but he kept Tyranitar around for it, and that's all he needed in the end. Like he picked up on the fact that Kelly had no coverage for T-Tar.
Yeah, he did.
Which was obviously an oversight on Kelly's part. I really enjoyed the AV slow
Yeah,
row
that was
because
good.
it allowed him to get the damage off on Mega Manectric, which is something you just need to wear down gradually or okay. He's just the whole trick on the Umbreon, that was perfectly timed.
Yeah, and
like he'd seen what he could do.
It worked out so well for him because of it taking, I think he survived the pursuit thanks to the leftovers recovery.
Yeah,
so
it was just like he did say after the leftovers, I survived the pursuit. So Trav knew what he wanted to do going into that game. Like obviously the trick was mainly for the Umbreon, or it could have been for a number of fat things.
Yeah, like the
Kelly's team,
the Calm Mind Reuniclus, stuff like that, I think.
Yeah, but he used it on the right Pokemon, and he just had no trouble in this game.
He was very much on point the entire game. Like other than the first turn where he wasted the weakness policy, like his game was sharp. He knew exactly what he needed to do, and this was just another one of those games where where one person was like really able to just had a good solid game plan and was just able to execute it very well.
Yeah, like it was an amazing game to watch from Trav's side at least. But number 1,
we're going to be in agreement here as well. I've got Sam moving up to number 1, and well deserved after the this week's performance.
Obviously I still got him at number 1. He hasn't moved for me.
He was something. What was he? He was a couple. But looking at this team, he's I think he set himself up very well to deal with Necro's team. He's I liked the Talonflame set. I liked Hariyama, and when I was watching the team builder back, the first thing I did was, because he said that he was kind of scared of Chandelure, was I said to myself, was kind of why are you running thick fat? But then it was like he was reading my mind in the video and answers it, well, because Eric, you're dumb and you forgot that that Necro has a Rotom Wash.
Well, that's pretty much the response to everything you say.
Yeah,
isn't
yeah.
it? Eric,
Yeah,
you're
pretty
dumb.
much. Yeah,
Yeah?
it's generally, actually, it happens far too much far more than I'd like. But you know, this was not a lot to say really here, aside from, of course, the Gorgai set, because this was another game like where there's not a lot to say, kind of for the other reason, because he just kind of yet again he got on top, stayed on top, won fairly comfortably. You know, that Gorgai set though, it was a thing of beauty. I just, when I saw them in the team builder, I was just like, please let this work. Please let this work.
And it did.
And it did. I mean, you know, he was unlucky that the Shadow Ball, he didn't get the Shadow Ball KO on Chandelure on the first time I'm asking, because he said it was actually a roll. He had a really good chance to knock it out. But then of course he was fortunate because Necro went for the sub instead of just attacking it directly. And then he got even more fortunate there when, I guess this comes back to kind of the bit of poor prep on Necro's part. He goes into the Mega Abomasnow and Ice Shards the thing, only to get knocked out by a Fire Blast. So Gorgeist, Life Orb offensive Gorgeist gets 2 kills. I think this is the second time I've seen an offensive Gorgeist put in a ton of work in a draft league game, but it was just so beautiful to watch.
Yeah. The Gorgeist, like, obviously Necro has a very prevalent fire weakness, which we've touched on. He has a combined ghost weakness, and he has then grass weaknesses. And as he found out, Gorgeist has all of that coverage.
Gorgeist is pretty effective for destroying Necro's whole team, more or less.
Yeah, as shown by Sam. But this is, like, these games last week and this week, it's Sam being Sam in League. Like, he cleaned up in the D-League when he played in that. And he's just doing the things he usually does with knowledge of what his opponents bring in.
It's both games he's been very on point with his predictions. And can I say I've been really happy to see how well he's been using Mega Blastoise.
Yeah, of course you would. That sounded like a really bad insult.
It did, yeah.
What?
and I have a response. You ready? It's Selgor.
Oh my god, Eric, man.
Yeah, that's just going to be the response forevermore. You're going to have to get used to it.
One day, right, you will realise the correct time to use that.
The correct time is any time.
No, it's not.
It is.
Anyway, back to Sam.
But yeah, back to Sam.
To shut
Back
you
to
up. It's another exceptional performance. I don't see Sam falling anytime soon.
Not with games like those, he won't.
It's like, if you're playing against Sam, guys, look at everything he could possibly do with his team. Don't just say he's got a Gorgeist, so that's going to be Gorgeist large and it's going to be defensive. Look at what it could be. Look at all of his Pokemon and look at what moves they can.
Yeah,
learn.
like this is a game that everybody needs to take, like, you know, go to Bulbapedia or whatever you decide to use, and, you know, don't just look at the Gen 6 sets. You know, look at everything that Mon can potentially do.
Like, look at the Gen 7 sets.
Yeah, look at those. Look at those two. But like, this is a game that if people like, the second time in a row, he's been able to surprise his opponent with an unexpected set and just do tons of work with it. And I mean, unless people wise up a bit, I don't see that changing anytime soon.
No. But yeah, that's going to be all from us this week.
Yeah, that is going to wrap up this week's Power Rankings. So as always, make sure you guys check out all of the wonderful links below, because there are all sorts of wonderful links down there. Of course, definitely.
Do you want to say wonderful more?
Yeah, wonderful. It's been wonderful doing these Power Rankings. No, but of course, you guys will be seeing this coming Thursday.
If they're uploaded on
Yes,
time.
that will be the day which hopefully you will be seeing this. And you know, as always, feel free to tell us that we're completely full of it in the comment section down below. We welcome being told that we're full of it, in fact.
Well, I'm not sure we will.
No, but you know, if you have a good, you know, well-reasoned explanation for why we're full of it, then feel free.
I just before we finish, I just want to apologise to Liam again for sounding so harsh earlier on.
So yeah, Liam, don't take it personally. It's just Frito. It's the way he is.
Yeah, I'm very direct and blunt, and it gets me in a lot of trouble. So sorry, mate.
He just apologized, guys. You're gonna have to record that. Anyway.
What we just did.
We did, right? So, we're going off on a tangent again, talking about Frito apologizing for being direct. I hope you guys have enjoyed this week's edition of the Power Rankings. We will, of course, be back next week to discuss in depth, you know, the various coaches' performance and how bad I am at the game, apparently.
Well, we'd need longer than an hour to discuss that.
Well, maybe next week is going to be longer than an hour. We'll see.
No, we've done it for like 3 weeks in a row. We've kept it under an hour.
So, anyway, you know, yeah, as I said, hope you guys enjoyed, and we will see you with next week's Power Rankings.
Bye-bye.